And it puts an exclamation point on how difficult a task that actually is. Roland, let's talk about your journey. 18,000 Angler of the Year titles, I think, fished a ton of classics. But what did this event mean to you?
I remember I was, I guess, the only one here that was at the first classic. And Ray did everything in the world because we'd gone out there a couple weeks ahead of time, or months ahead of time, to do a seminar. And I'd been invited to go fish the lake, and so Ray didn't want me to fish the lake. And so I said, I'm going to go fish Lake Mead tomorrow. This was months before the tournament. No, you can't do that. I got some things for you to do. So, and then Bob came up with things for me to do. And I remember, I never did get to fish Lake Mead. So I put this in the back of my mind just before we got on that plane where he announces Lake Mead. I wondered then, maybe it was Lake Mead. Well, I hadn't done any research on Lake Mead, so that was the deal. I did catch a big bass on Lake Mead. I think I had the #1 bass. But my closest experience was at the St. Lawrence River. And up to that time, I'd laid all my eggs in one basket. I thought Angler of the Year was a special thing for me, and I was trying to do well all year to have the point title. And so I managed to do that. I was really proud of my accomplishment there. And I know Rick and I would talk back and forth because he was the champion of winning the Classic, as well as Hank. And it was kind of like, which is more important, Angler of the Year or the Classic? And so I always thought that the Angler of the Year was awful important. But anyway, it's now proven maybe not, but it's still a big deal. For me, it was my big deal. And so when it came to the Classic at the St. Lawrence, it all boiled down to the last day. I had the lead. Bo Dowden was right there too. And there was a little crack in the Mary Island Ledge near Alexandria Bay, going into I forgot, Lake of the Isles. And I'd gone in and I'd shaken this big old 5 or 6 pound bass off in the warm-up. And I went in the first day, I didn't catch it. Went in the second day, I didn't catch it. And I went into the third day, I'm leading the tournament. And just as I'm ready to cast into that little crack, it's late in the day, a little boat comes up and says, "You should have been here 5 minutes ago." And I said, "Well, what happened 5 minutes ago?" He said, "That fella, Bo Dowden, he came through here and he threw in that little crack and caught the big bass of the day."